This is the Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450, which is Royal Enfield's latest motorcycle. This is the key of the motorcycle, which is the same as other RE motorcycles. But this motorcycle is available in 3 variants: analog, dash and flash. The price range starts at rupees 2.9 lakhs on road Mumbai, going all the way to rupees 3.07 lakhs on road Mumbai for this variant, which is the top variant of this particular motorcycle. In fact, it is a lot more expensive when compared to the Trans Speed 400, its direct competitor, because the Speed 400 is available only in one variant and it is 13,000 cheaper when compared to the base variant of the Guerrilla 450. But this is the roadster version of the Himalayan, so it shares a lot with the Himalayan. And of course, this is a Royal Enfield motorcycle, which means it gets the typical Royal Enfield traits like a round headlight, which gives it the retro appeal. This is an all LED headlamp and it has RE written on the inside. This is the low beam, this is the high beam, LED indicators, hazard lights are on at the moment. What they have done is made a lot of changes to the Himalayan, and the platform remains the same, but they have actually reduced the weight of this motorcycle. Now, in terms of the seat height, this has been reduced here for making it more accessible, obviously. So 780mm is the seat height of this motorcycle, which is like 45mm lesser than the Himalayan. The ground clearance is 169mm, which is 61mm lesser than the Himalayan. So yes, it makes it more accessible. And they've also managed to reduce the tank size, which is not such a good thing because this is an 11-litre tank, 6 litres less than the Himalayan 450. All this results in a weight reduction. Actually, they have gone ahead and reduced the weight by 13 kg, so it weighs 185 kg, still the heaviest in the segment. But then this is actually a roadster motorcycle, not a scrambler. Yet Royal Enfield has actually given it block pattern tires. Now the tires have a big USP, both a pro as well as a con. The pro is, before that let me show you the disc size. This is a 310mm front disc and this is 10mm smaller when compared to the Himalayan because the tire size is reduced now, so I don't think they can fit the bigger disc here. However, this is actually a 17-inch front wheel. The Himalayan gets a 21-inch front wheel, so I think they've saved weight right there. That is the horn of the motorcycle. There's a belly pan here, which is actually made of plastic, the engine guard, and the radiator is becoming very loud right now. Show off, folks. Here, there's a reflector treatment right there. Now, the Himalayan gets a 21-inch front wheel, but it's a 90-90-21. Meanwhile, this is a 120-70-17. This is the widest front tire of any India-made motorcycle because the earlier widest was the 110mm, which we get in a lot of motorcycles like KTM and Bajaj's and all those things. Meanwhile, the rear is super duper wide at 160mm. The Himalayan 450 has a 140mm rear. This is a 160-60-17. Super wide, yes, the widest tire of any India-made motorcycle. So the pro is obviously a wider contact patch, but there's a negative, which is obviously that this is the only motorcycle which has this tire configuration, and obviously this bike is not going to sell in hot numbers, which means that when you go to replace the tires of this motorcycle, the options are going to be limited, unlike the 110-150 combo, which has become quite common now, and a lot of tire brands are actually making those tire sizes. But this one, it's going to be difficult to find. Anyways, the rear disc is the same size as the Himalayan, which is a 270mm disc. The exhaust is the same as the Himalayan, which I don't like, the design I don't like. You get a rear monoshock suspension. You can open the seat from here, but there's something popping out. I think the bike papers, yeah, fit finish could be a bit better. Royal Enfield still needs to work on its fit finish. It says Guerrilla 450 right here, the Sherpa 450 engine, which actually has the same state of tune. Actually, output numbers are the same, but I think the state of tune has changed slightly. Royal Enfield badging in purple color. I like the color scheme. It is actually very nice. Seat seems comfortable. The foot peg has been raised by 30mm. So a lot of changes have been done here and there to make this motorcycle more road centric than off-road centric. The brake lights are the same as the Himalayan, so indicators are on at the moment. This also functions as the brake light of this motorcycle. You get a sari guard right there, and I actually like the design of this motorcycle. I think it looks quite funky, but it is the heaviest in the segment. So let's play the horn. Yeah, that is loud. Switchgear seems good in terms of quality. That is the button for hazard lights. I'll just turn it off. Round mirrors here, round cluster as well. Straight away, let's turn off the motorcycle. Oh my god, it is becoming quite loud. I can feel a little bit of heating as well. So we're going to turn on the motorcycle. As soon as I turn on the ignition, it says Guerrilla, and there it turns on. Does a full swipe up as well. I don't think if you can see that. There it turns on. Let's rev it. Okay, there's a soft limiter at 8000 RPM, which is quite weird. Asymmetric fuel tank cap says up to E20. Yeah, ethanol 20. You get a USB charging socket here. Yeah, this is a USB-C charging socket, which is such a good thing. It's never going to focus. It's a chintu mintu right there. Handlebar seems wide enough, and this is for the lights. Meanwhile, this is for the indicators. This is to browse through a lot of stuff here on the cluster. So you have so many things to browse through, because trip information, what's the distance to empty, what's the fuel consumption like, what's the voltage, engine temperature, all this information you can see right here. And then you want to get back into the home screen, all you need to do is press this button, which comes in handy, and then you are back in the home screen. Yeah, it's a bit flimsy to use, because this thing now, you don't even know exactly what you're clicking, so it becomes a bit messy to use it. But then once you get the hang of it, you still are not able to browse through this, because entering a menu means pressing the button inside, and sometimes you end up pressing the wrong thing, because it is just not that easy to use. Very badly done, Royal Enfield. You could have done a better job here for sure. Trying to get into appearances, I'm just like struggling with it, because every time I'm like pressing it inside now, I end up pressing something else. So here what we can do is get into the screen type, and then you can change the screen from analog to digital as well. So yeah, there are cluster modes here, which is such a nice thing to have. Let's rev it. Anyways, let's start riding this motorcycle right away. Alright, let's start riding this motorcycle right away. I love the way the switch has been done here, and I'm just going to put the side stand down. It says side stand, put into gear, and the motorcycle shuts. So yes, side stand indicator, nice feature to have, which has kind of become common now, so not really a big deal as such. Don't know why the mirror is pointing to stupid places, but okay. Now I need to tell you how different it feels when compared to the Himalayan. It feels very different, even though the platform is the same, the engine is the same. This motorcycle feels vastly different when compared to the Himalayan, because firstly, it feels lighter, it feels more nimble. It is having these block pattern tires, which is a bit weird. I'm not able to adjust the mirror only, you know. There's something wrong with the mirror. It's kind of loose, not really giving me a good view of what's behind. So yeah, mirrors are not the best. Anyways, what they've given it is block pattern tires on this motorcycle, which is out of place here, because this is not a scrambler. Now this is a roadster, and those block pattern tires are just for show, nothing more. It kind of feels okay, because they don't really affect the grip at lower speeds. However, when you try to corner hard now, that is when it really affects, because when leaning very hard now, then it tends to lose grip, because the outer edges are not that grippy because of the block pattern nature. And then you can actually lean very aggressively on this motorcycle, because this motorcycle has pegs which are not very intrusive as such. So yeah, cornering clearance is actually good. Okay, someone is parked in the center of the road. Now the ride quality is decent. It's not the best. I can feel a bit uncomfortable here. In fact, especially at the rear, I feel it is a bit on the stiffer side, and I think the reduction of the suspension travel has also affected this motorcycle. So the suspension travel on the Himalayan is a good 200 mm. Here it is 140 mm at the front and 150 mm at the rear. So the reduction in suspension travel has definitely affected this motorcycle. Now what they have done is they have actually retuned this engine to make it more punchy lower down, and somehow they have failed miserably at it, because this motorcycle doesn't have good low end grunt. Mid range is very nice, top end is amazing. It still feels like the Himalayan in terms of the characteristic of this engine. This is a 452cc engine, known as the Sherpa 450. People use this dirty water to clean their vehicles, which is not the cleanest thing to do. Anyways, so 452cc engine. How do I go, and from where do I go? There's so many puddles, man. Where am I? Am I driving in a lake or something? It's kind of crazy, but I like the fact that the bike is super nimble. Yeah, handlebar gives you good leverage as well, so easy to maneuver this motorcycle. And off we go. Oh my goodness, that was quite the punch. Yeah, this motorcycle actually really pulls strongly past 3000 rpm. There are two riding modes. Yeah, mode declined, retry in next ignition cycle. So some of the issues and gripes are here for sure, but anyways, we will circumvent them. I'm not feeling comfortable with the ride of this motorcycle. Ride is not good at all. Just like the Hunter, it is on the stiffer side, which actually robs away the comfort you would expect. And there are too many vibrations on this motorcycle. Red line's at 9000 rpm. So this 452cc Sherpa 450 engine, which is basically a single cylinder liquid cooled 4-valve motor, it produces 40 horsepower at 8000 rpm and 40 newton meters at 5500 rpm. And because it's lighter when compared to the Himalayan 450, it is faster as well. It goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 6.3 seconds, which is actually quick enough. And the top speed, well, I think it should do around 170 kilometers per hour without much hesitation. All the wind blast is going to be quite a lot. This mirror is moving all over the place and not giving me a good view of what's around, so that's a bit of a problem here. Throttle response is good, yeah, once you get past the mid-range. Yeah, past 3000 rpm is where the engine wakes up, but there are a lot of vibes. There are too many vibrations here. You can feel the vibes all over on the handlebar, on the foot pegs, and somehow you can also feel the vibrations around the tank area. So it is behaving like a Royal Enfield. Now the
punch in, oh my god, the punch in the mid-range is actually very good. Yeah, I'm very impressed by the performance because of the lightweight and the engine's performance. It really pushes hard and fast, and this mirror is, I don't know what is wrong with this mirror. Brakes are decent, but you know, doesn't have a sharp initial bite, and it's time to launch here. 3, 2, 1, and off we go. First gear 55, so yes, it is stall gear. Second gear 81, and into third it crosses 100 kilometers per hour. A lot of wind blasts coming in my way, and it feels stable. Ride is not the best, but the handling is actually quite nice. Feels nimble and agile. It's not the sharpest because it's sort of a big bike. Yeah, because of the Himalayan 450's underpinning, it gives it a big bike feel. There's no traction control, there is no quick shifter, there's none of that, and ABS cannot be turned off like in the Himalayan for the rear wheels. For supermoto mode, no, that also does not happen here. So that's something you really don't need. What I see here is Royal Enfield is just launching so many motorcycles now that in the next 10 years they will have 150 motorcycles on sale. Yeah, they're just deriving new motorcycles on the same platform, which is a smart thing to do, but then also creates a lot of confusion. Here they are aiming at the KTM Duke 390 and the Husqvarna 401. The 401 they can kill because it's already a dead product. The KTM Duke 390 they can't touch. So the main rival of this motorcycle happens to be the Triumph Speed 400, and in that regard it falls short. It falls a lot short because the Triumph is a lot smoother, a better motorcycle in every way, the Triumph, and that just goes to show that you know, the KTM part win and the research and development done by KTM with Bajaj is paying dividends to even Triumph right now. But that's not the case with Royal Enfield, because although this motorcycle is quite likable, it's just not as good as the Triumph Speed 400, because the Speed 400 feels like a better product overall. Feels better to ride, the quality is better, everything feels better on the Triumph, no doubt about that. And the Triumph is cheaper by 17,000 when compared to the base variant of this motorcycle, so that again is a big deal. I have 24 seconds to turn off this motorcycle and reset everything. Okay, let's turn it on. Clutch lock. Oh, okay, I'm in first gear. How did I miss that? And riding mode, performance is on. Eco mode will obviously better for fuel efficiency. It's telling me what's the outside temperature, it's telling me the clock, so certain good things here for sure. Oh, mirrors are vibrating because of the engine, and off we go. Red line's close to 9,000 RPM. Yeah, top end is very nice in this motorcycle. I love the top end grunt. I like the fact that the engine does sound nice. So yes, it has this gruntiness, there's this bassiness as well to the engine. And this is not a bike you would go for long distance touring, purely because the tank size is super duper small. You can expect a fuel efficiency of somewhere between, okay, let me duck down for better aero efficiency, fuel efficiency of around, okay, that's it, too much wind blast. I can't deal with the wind blast, it's just way too much wind blast. So I expect fuel efficiency to be somewhere between 22 to 24 kilometers per liter, going out to almost 30 kilometers per liter out on the highway. Decent fuel efficiency. Gearbox is slick shifting, clutch is also on the lighter side. So yeah, quite a lot of good bits on this motorcycle which you will like, but 17,000 more for the base variant of this motorcycle when compared to the Triumph Speed 400 is a lot. Making a quick turn is also not difficult here. The base variant actually gets an semi-analog or semi-digital cluster, same as the Super Meteor 650. Meanwhile, the mid and top variants actually get the same cluster as the Himalayan 450. And now we are going to come to a halt here. I'm not happy with the way the suspension is at the rear. Could have been a lot better. And time we launch it again into first gear, and off we go. So as I see it, Royal Enfield has taken the Himalayan 450 and given us this particular motorcycle, the Guerrilla 450, which honestly is an impressive machine. I just wish the pricing was a lot more aggressive, and in terms of performance and all, you will not really complain much. But then being a single cylinder motorcycle, obviously too many vibrations and way too many vibrations to contend with. That's something which is a bit disappointing here. Alright guys, race on with this BMW, fake BMW, and off we go. Sorry dude, I'm off. False neutral. The main thing is that this is a new motorcycle, so I hope Royal Enfield has addressed all the issues, because newer motorcycles from Royal Enfield, or the first batch at least, tends to have certain issues. So I would say avoid it right now, but once the initial issues are ironed out, which they hopefully should be fast enough, because things are very similar to the Himalayan 450, and the Himalayan 450 has been on sale since quite some time now. then this motorcycle would be worth buying. The only thing is, if you find the premium to be worth it over the Triumph Speed 400, or if you don't like the Triumph Speed 400 and you're okay with paying slightly more for this motorcycle, go for it, because it's a very likable machine. It's a Royal Enfield, unlike any other Royal Enfield motorcycle, and in that regard, it seriously impresses you. The temperature is relatively cooler today, yet the radiator is overactive somehow. And off we go. So in spite of the fact that false neutral again, yeah, in spite of the fact that the seat height has been reduced, this motorcycle is actually quite comfortable for someone as tall as me, which is a nice thing. But I feel a bit cramped on my knee because of the raised foot pegs of this motorcycle. The pegs are obviously center side. So guys, this is my video of the Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450, another Royal Enfield motorcycle which is impressive. But wait before you buy, and I just hope that Royal Enfield prices its bikes more aggressively, because I think this is a bit on the higher side. It's not a spectacular motorcycle, but then Royal Enfield's entry into the roadster segment is very much welcome here. Bye bye.